Jake Diebler has added quality players from the transfer portal, but this roster still feels one piece away from being complete.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Jay Stevens. During this hardwood huddle, we will discuss what Ohio State should do if John Mobley Jr. keeps his name in the NBA draft. But first, Jake Diebler is trying to do everything he can to put together a better, more complete roster for this upcoming year so the Buckeyes can make a deep tournament run. And while you're trying to make a deep tournament run, the Buckeyes are still going to have Amari Bynum on the team. Josh Ojawina is going to be there. Ivan Degovin. These are guys that were there last year that are still going to be pieces of the Buckeyes roster in the upcoming season. He went out to the portal and brought in a player like Justin Pippen and players such as Andrei Yelovich, Jimmie Williams, and Curtis Givens III. All four of those players fill necessary needs that the roster had at the end of last year. Well, as I think about what the Buckeyes are keeping on the roster and think about what the Buckeyes are bringing in, I still feel like there's an obvious hole in the roster, and it can become a problem in the fall. In the winter, not football, in the winter. One thing when it comes to this team in particular, they have a lot of strong, experienced guard play. The big men should play better in this upcoming year, but you don't have an experienced wing, a guy 6'7" or 6'9" that's on the wing. He can either be a starter or a backup. It does not matter. You don't have that on this roster. Jimmie Williams is kind of the guy you're trying to utilize to fill that role, and I don't know if he is that guy for what Ohio State needs. If the length that Big Ten teams have, the length and the size and the experience that a lot of Big Ten teams have next year, Jimmie Williams isn't that guy. He's a really good player, but he can't play like he's 6'7" or 6'9", but he's only 6'5". He can't just morph into something that he's not. And so for Jake Diebler, my hope is that he's not done using the portal. Now, with the players that he's brought in, with the money that they have spent, it's likely that they are done. But what if somebody is willing to take a discount to be a contributor at Ohio State? Because Anthony Thompson, the incoming freshman, he's a 5-star, is expected to be a starting small forward. You still need somebody behind him. Now, I don't know if the plan is to play the other incoming freshman and Alex Smith, who is standing at 6'9". But if you're trying to roll with two freshmen, one's a starter and one's a backup at your small forward spot, I don't know how comfortable Ohio State or Jake Diebler should be if that's the plan. Yeah, you could realistically put Amari Bynum at the 3. If you want to go Josh Ojawina at the 5, Yelovich at the 4, Bynum at the 3. Realistically, you could do that, but Bynum doesn't play like your traditional 3. He does have quickness. He does have size. He has some bounce. He does have those attributes, but he plays more like a power forward than a small forward, which as to why if you go to the portal and find a way to bring somebody in, I don't think it's going to happen right now. And that's the problem to me. I think you needed to get stronger guard play. When you lose Taysom Chapman, Gabe Cupps was really someone that you could just say, yeah, he needed to go. Colin White was one where you were wondering if it was going to click, if it was ever going to be something where he could be a contributor for the Buckeyes off the bench. You never got it last year, and so losing him isn't the biggest deal, but you did replace him with somebody else with some experience as a little bit of a longer, taller player. You can't win everything with strong guard play. And I think Pippen and Givens and Williams are going to be really good players in this upcoming season. John Mobley Jr.'s name is still in the NBA draft. He's maintaining his collegiate eligibility. He has said that his plan is to either go to the NBA, play at Ohio State next year. That's his plan. So we have to go off of his words and the things he has written to formulate our opinions about this upcoming roster. I still believe he is going to come back to Ohio State. There's actually no reason at all for him to go to the NBA unless he's just comfortable being either a late second-round pick or an undrafted free agent. I mean, that's where he's probably going to be. At 6'1", 175, he's a little bit smaller, a lot smaller. He's not the strongest defender. He's refining his offensive game. It's not the strongest game in the world. Yes, he can shoot. He's becoming a better slasher. His mid-range and floater game is getting a whole lot better. Yes, his offensive game is getting better, but defensively, if you're at 6'1", 175, and you can't defend at a high level, NBA teams are not going to go all in on you unless you shoot like Steph Curry or you can get to the basket like Derrick Rose. Also, those guys are 6'3". They're not 6'1", 175. That might be the only way that they're going to go after you. And so Mobley, to me, is probably going to be a starting 2. I'm just saying this as I am expecting him to come back. Pippen, Mobley, Thompson, Bynum, Ojawana. Pretty good starting 5. The bench, pretty good. Got some pretty good production and some experienced players there. But not using the portal to get an experienced wing standing between 6'7" and 6'9" to use the height and length and experience that is needed for teams in the Big Ten to make some noise. To me, that's probably going to be a problem in the upcoming season. Now, the good thing for Jake Diebler is it's May. He can work around that. He could work to put together a plan to work around some of the issues with the roster if Ohio State is unable to bring somebody else in to fulfill that role. If they can, great. They'll probably take a massive discount, but who knows? Crazy things have happened in college basketball. If somebody wants to play, they will maybe cut their own financials back to come to Ohio State, be a Buckeye, and see what it's like to wear the scarlet and gray. What should the Buckeyes do if John Mobley Jr. decides to stay in the NBA draft? We will discuss that after the break. This is Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Thank you for making Locked on Buckeyes your first listen of the day, and for making Locked on the #1 sports podcast network. Get Locked on Buckeyes ad-free with the Everydayer Club. Plus, members-only Discord access and a whole lot more. You and your boys can join the fun at lockedonbuckeyes.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. What should Ohio State do if John Mobley Jr. keeps his name in the NBA draft? It's just on the heels of it being announced that Bruce Thornton got invited to the NBA draft combine and John Mobley Jr. didn't. Now, he still cut his name in the draft. He's still testing the waters. He's still trying to talk to necessary people at the next level to figure out what the right move is for him, where he's strong, where he needs to improve. He is still going through that pre-draft process, and I'm not mad at him. I think it's a great process, a great opportunity for him to have to talk to people at the NBA level to see what he can do to get better. Everybody wants to know what they can do to get better, but as he's talking to them, he may realize, I have a real opportunity here to go to the NBA a little bit earlier than expected, and I'm going to forego the rest of my collegiate eligibility and go play in the NBA. And if that happens, Ohio State has to go to the portal and get a wing. Because I think on the roster right now, if Mobley Jr. leaves, Jimmie Williams can be your starting 2 guard. I have no problem saying that. I actually think it would be really, really good, an obvious replacement if Mobley Jr. leaves. But if he leaves, Jimmie Williams now goes from coming off of your bench to being a starter. And then also, you have to go to the portal to get a wing player. Here's the issue with that. Most of the guys you wanted are gone. They're already at new places to play college basketball. You may have to go overseas. And sometimes you go overseas. Sometimes guys have a smooth transition from European or overseas basketball to basketball here in the States, or sometimes it takes them a couple of years to really figure out how to play this brand of basketball. And so that's a hit or miss. Diebler has done a great job of going overseas and getting guys to come play at Ohio State, but you just don't know what you're going to get sometimes. you do know what you're going to get in Jimmie Williams. You know what you're going to get. You have a better ability to know what you're going to get if you get somebody from the portal. But if you're going now to get somebody from the portal, your options are going to be pretty slim. They're probably guys that may have character issues, or they may be pricing themselves out way too high outside of the budget of the school that they're talking to. Whatever the case may be, there are guys there that are going to be in the portal that may never play college basketball again, which is why there may be somebody out there, which I mentioned earlier, somebody might take a discount. Just say, I am on the verge of ending my college career and I never wanted it to end right now. Will you take me? Well, we'll take you. We have a hole. We have a need, and maybe our funds are a little bit lower, but we want to bring you in to be a part of our team. And that's where you have to go. If Mobley Jr. stays in the NBA draft, you have to bump up Jimmie Williams to your starting five and then go get a guy 6'7" to 6'9". I even go 6'6" to 6'9" from the portal. I'm lowering the standard because you're out of time. But that's what you have to do. Now, there's something that John Mobley Jr. didn't say in his statement that is still a possibility because people change their mind. He could easily go to Europe or play overseas and go play basketball there, play professional basketball in his collegiate career, and be perfectly fine doing so. And so I know what he wrote, and I know what he's saying. I am not ruling it out that he could go and find a team on the other side of the pond, or maybe go to Mexico or Canada to play basketball and make a lot of money doing it and have a lot of fun playing the game that he loves. That's also an option, because European teams and teams from different countries, they know about John Mobley Jr. They probably watch Ohio State games. They know that he is entertaining going into the NBA. And they may try to swoop in and say, look, man, we know you got the Buckeyes on your mind, and we know you want to go back to college and be the big man on campus, but we have a phenomenal opportunity for you with a pretty big bag attached to your name if you just follow us back to fill in the blank country. If you follow them back to that country, you could become a legend. Let's just say you decide to stay there for 10 years and win a couple championships in that league, you win a couple MVPs. All of a sudden, you're going from John Mobley Jr., phenomenal basketball player at Ohio State, to John Mobley Jr., a household name in another country. And let me tell you, as I've seen basketball in other countries, not with my own eye live, but I've seen just different stuff on the social media and different games on TV, they will love you. They will absolutely love you, which is very enticing for some people that want to make money, that want to be loved, and they want to go somewhere where they can continue their career and further their opportunity to play professional basketball. So if Mobley leaves, they have to go to the portal to bring in a wing. Don't go up to the portal to bring in another guard. No, go to the portal to bring in another wing and let the chips fall where they may. If he decides to go off and play overseas, that's also an option. And I would not be mad if he chose to do that either. It's just his life. It's his career. While I think he should stay at Ohio State, I would understand if he kept his name in the NBA draft, or if he decided to go play overseas and in his college playing days at The Ohio State University. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. Attachment Locked on Buckeyes on a Tuesday. We'll see you next time.